Hey friends, how are you doing? It's November 12th. This podcast is a little late, I'm sorry. That's because I didn't want to do it before. If I'm being totally honest, I just felt like I was tired. Things came up. I had no motivation and I didn't want to talk for like half an hour to 40 minutes of when I was feeling like boo boo. So I'm sorry, but I'm here now and it's cozy. I've got blankets, I've got cushions, I've got me phone with me reminders on it for what to talk about. I'm on my sofa. I've got a pillow under my butt because I was too short for the frame. Womp womp. But last month was pretty good. So I did just have a nap, so I'm feeling kind of like sleepy. Um, but yeah, I was like, hey, I have some time, so I should do the podcast now. So, hi, how are you doing? I always feel so weird when I'm filming because I'm not very good with eye contact. Hi, autism. um, so, and I can see myself. So, like, if I'm looking over there, it's because I'm looking at myself. If I'm looking here, I'm looking at the lens. If I'm looking around, it's because I'm autistic and I can't deal with eye contact. Um, Oliver's here. Hi, sweet pea. How are you doing? Meow. She might join the frame. She might not. You might be able to hear the seagulls. Here's Olive. Chicky. The window's slightly open, so that's why you can hear outside stuff. Maybe, I don't know if it's picking it up. If it is, you're welcome. Um, it never bothers me when I can hear the background in other people's videos because I'm like, oh, it's building a scene, you know? Anyways, let's get to peaks and pits. So, peaks. I have a few peaks. I have some exciting news that maybe I'm ready to share with you. The first one is that the cats are doing really well. They are getting on, they are play fighting, they're chasing each other. I'm testing out the name Orla with Oracle. If you didn't listen to last month's podcast, I may or may not have got a second kitty. It depends who's listening. I explained it all then, but they were very scared of each other in the beginning. Oracle was very hissy. She's 5 years old. She's not used to sharing her space with another cat. She wasn't in a terrible place, but she hadn't been like, what's the word? Spoilt in a while, I think. And I was asked to look after her, and obviously that was a blessing. She's beautiful and sweet and kind, and she's in my bed right now. She's very smart, she's very regal, and Olive is chaos and party animal and wants attention all the time. If I leave when a friend is here, she goes to the door and cries until I'm back. If I'm in the bedroom and close the door, she cries and like claws at the floor and is like, "Let me in, mother." So I was a little bit nervous about how they would respond to each other. So they were apart for a week. Oracle was in my bedroom, Olive was in here, like in the rest of the house, and there were moments where I opened the door and they like got to see each other, and then at one day I was just like, let's just open the door and see what happens, and they were quite standoffish. Olive hissed a little bit, not too much, but Oracle was like it was like a really chatty cat, but every meow was a hiss. So she was very stressed. And then I got like a cat calming plug-in thing, and she was like just totally transformed and was just like came out of her shell, started like rolling around on the floor, being really chill. And now they like can sleep on the same bed. They like smack each other and they hide and chase each other, and it's really cute to see. They don't mind sharing spaces anymore. Oracle does sometimes hiss at Olive because Olive likes to like um sneak up behind her and like scare her and stuff. That's probably my fault because we do that to each other. Whoopsies. But Oracle has started doing the same to Olive, so that is really fun and I'm enjoying it. So woohoo for me. I feel very like accomplished as a cat mother for bringing the two girls together in peace and just seeing Oracle's like glow up. She has become more clean. She has looked more relaxed. She lays with her tummy showing, like on her back, and you can just tell that she's so much more relaxed. She like runs about, she jumps onto things, whereas when she first got here, she was like really walking slowly and not sure about anything, and um, she didn't want to be touched, but now I can like lift her up and give her cuddles and kisses, and she doesn't mind too much. Sometimes she's like, get off me. But she's gorgeous and I love her and I love Olive, and we've kind of named them Noodle and Nugget because Olive is very long and slim and Oracle is a little bit of a chunky girl and she's got a very round belly and she's kind of like a chicken nugget. So we got Noodle and Nugget. And that's been fun. And they look very similar. Sometimes I get them mixed up. People always get them mixed up online, which is great. But Oracle has green eyes. Olive has browny yellowy eyes. Come here. And Olive's got like a really sharp line down the middle of her face. Come on. She's thinking about it. And Oracle has a like white triangle on the middle of her face. So that's how I tell them apart, aside from the size difference. But if there's just one of them, sometimes I can't tell. Which I feel so guilty about. I know you're independent, like unique girls, and you have your own like identities, but sometimes I get a little confused. You can also tell the difference between them by the hair texture. So if I'm in bed, someone comes to cuddle me, I can feel their fur and I know who is who. Olive's fur is a lot more like smooth and long-ish. It's like it's been freshly conditioned, and Oracle's is a little bit like she's not been using conditioner and it's a little shorter. I don't know if it is shorter or longer, actually. That makes it feel that way, but it just feels a little thicker. Olive is eating from her food tree, so that's the noise in the background. Let me just grab a little sippy of water. What are those? Some other news that I thought I'd maybe share with you. Sharing with you because I don't know, this has been going on for a few, well, about 5 months now. Has it? 4 months? And it was kind of very casual in the beginning, but more recently, in the last 2 weeks, it's become official. But I may or may not have a boyfriend. Hello? What is that? So yeah, do you want the gossip? I'll tell you all the gossip. Oh my gosh. So, he's very much not on the internet. He doesn't like the internet. He doesn't like social media, so I don't really talk about him or like include pictures of him anywhere, even on my Finsta. But we met from this little online app where you meet guys, Grindr, and he was like, I was about to delete Grindr, and on the last day I was like, I changed my name to Deleting Grindr. If you want to keep in touch, ask for my Instagram. And he popped up and we had like briefly chatted before, but we weren't looking for the same things. he popped up and was like, hey. And I was like, hey. And then I was like, maybe I can just like have one little meeting before I delete the app. And then he comes over, we have a few hours together, and then the next day he's like, do you want to hang out? And we've been hanging out every couple of days since June, July, August. Wait, how do you count? July, August, September, October, November. 5 months already, and it's gone so fast. And the other day I just brought up the conversation of putting labels on things, and he was like, yeah, cool, let's do it, because we already act and do everything that couples seem to do, and it just seemed like it fit, and it was very casual and nice and pleasant. It's very easy. And I feel like with some connections I've made in the past, I've always been like looking to the future, and I kind of hyperfixate on the person, and I'm like, I think about the potential of them in the future, and like, I don't know, I just keep thinking about this guy I dated for like a month, and we saw each other like once or twice a week, and that was like emotional roller coaster. Firstly, I probably wasn't in a place to be dating, but also we had opposite attachment styles, and I just kept thinking about the potential of him, and like, oh, maybe in the future I'll feel more secure. Maybe in the future he'll get better at communicating, and maybe in the future everything will work out. But it wasn't great, like in the moment, really, for my brain. But with this person, it's just been so easy, and like, I think maybe I didn't even consider it being anything serious because it wasn't exactly what I was looking for in terms of like the grand gestures and the romance and the like fairy tale kind of thing. Maybe I'm a bit of a hopeless romantic. Maybe, yes, I probably am. And I think I was imagining my future partner to be like this. To be honest, I always said to my friend, like, I want a guy that brings me flowers and bubble tea. And I was imagining them to be like super lovey-dovey and stuff. But then I remembered in my past, whenever people have done that, I felt really awkward. And it's actually not, it doesn't make me feel very comfortable at all. And maybe it depends on the person. But yeah, that's, I love the idea of it, but in reality, I'm like, "Meh." Anyways, this person, it was very casual, kind of like we were just like seeing each other as friends and plus mom. But he is so kind and thoughtful, and he remembers like little details about things that I have liked in the past, and he'll bring them over. He lives really nearby, and he'll just be like, oh, do you want me to pop over after work? And then he brings me pastries that he's got left over, or like he'll remember like I've run out of medication for something, and then he'll bring some over, or like he'll remember something I said about myself and bring it up, and it's just like I feel so heard and seen and cared about, and I've just been so rigid in my thinking where I'm like, I want the guy that brings flowers and bubble tea, and we can watch movies and go on cute dates and stuff, but I had kind of like not allowed myself to think a bit outside the box, like this person or people don't have to fit so specifically into those rigid ideas, and he like the way, oh, this is so like cheesy, but the way he shows care and like thoughtfulness is so much nicer than like going on superficial dates with people. First of all, I don't have the energy and I'm in pain all the time, so dates are difficult anyways, but they'd be nice sometimes. But because we have like a relationship that's been so built on a friendship first, it doesn't feel very romantic, but it feels really secure and really comfortable and really lovely. So that's my life. Um, I don't know if I'll like share him on the internet. To be honest, I don't even know if he knows about conscious euphoria. Like I've spoken to him about it and I've shown him my like Finsta, and he saw like I've got maybe 2,000 followers on there, and he was like, "Oh my god, you're so popular," and I was like, "Oh my god, yeah," as a joke. And he knows that I do conscious euphoria, and I have like a separate art account, and that is my business, but I don't know if he like knows like how many people are there, and I feel so like I almost feel embarrassed to bring it up because I don't want to be like, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know. I'm just, I'm just awkward. Okay. Sometimes I feel like I would be um big-headed to be like, did you know I actually have like 25,000 followers? Um, so I kind of love that though, because there's been a couple of people that I've met before, and I find out like before the date or after a couple dates that they actually have known who I am from my YouTube videos or from my art. And I've got some friends, I've got a lot of friends actually that I know through Instagram or Tumblr back in the day or YouTube who just reached out to me. And it's not like a no, it's not like a deal breaker, but I would have liked to start with someone on the same level where we don't know anything about each other and we get to show each other the versions of each other that we want to, rather than it being like um here is my it's not like I change my personality, but the way I talk on camera is sometimes different to the way that I talk with friends. It's more like edited, calculated, because I want it to be interesting, you know. So I'm really glad that he didn't even know anything about me, and um, I feel like that sounds really like big-headed still, but these are things I think about. Okay, I prefer it when people don't care about what I do, because then I'm not in a, yeah, I just don't want to ever become someone that like forgets about real life and makes everything about like being a social media person. Not that I think I am a big social media person, although it is like my job. So okay, that's enough now. I have a boyfriend. Are you happy? um but yeah, I saw him yesterday and we got sushi and we got high and we watched The Voice, and it was cute. So yeah, we might go on a date soon, which is cute. Um, the other day we went to feed pigeons in the park, and we're baking along to Bake Off as well, which is fun. And he makes the best pumpkin bread. So we're gonna make it again tomorrow. Anyways, pits. I've been struggling with chronic pain, which is so frustrating. I'm not gonna go too much into it because I can't be bothered to like be sad, you know. but I've just been in a lot of pain with my lower back and I don't know what's going on, and it's really hard to figure out what the fuck's going on. But I need to do some like strength training for my lower back, so maybe I'll do that at some point. Okay, onto the topic for this video, which is how I gained confidence. And I have some tips, but let me tell you something. In October, I did life drawing, as in October, I was a nude model for a life drawing class. And that is something I would never, ever have imagined myself to say, because I have always been super shy. I have always been kind of like scared of nudity. I used to go to life drawing classes when I was like 16 with my mum, and they were meant to be nude drawing classes, but because I was so scared of nudity, they got the model to wear underwear because I was afraid of what would happen. And my first like nude life drawing class where I was an artist was like in college when I was about 18, and that felt really uncomfortable at first, but then I got over it, and now that I do art where most of my drawings are nude bodies, I've become a lot more comfortable with it. But I'm still very conscious about my body, and I think I'm especially conscious because there are so many eyes on me and perceptions of who I am on social media. I've had this, I guess, fear that a trans person's gonna see me naked and then tell everyone online what I look like naked. And I guess it's not that rational, but also it could happen. People can be mean. But I think because the community is so small, and sometimes there's a lot of judgment and comparison against trans bodies, and we see like the ideal trans body in porn or on magazines or in the media, and it's always these ripped trans guys that have big T-dicks. And I've been very vocal about surgeries that I've had and being a bigger trans guy, and there isn't that much representation of bigger trans guys in the media, and I want to change that, but also it's scary changing it when there isn't that many people doing that. So it's a vicious cycle, right, where in order to normalize something, someone has to show their body, but it's scary because there isn't bodies like them. So I've been very self-conscious about my body. I've wanted to do a few things and I've been holding myself back from doing them. Even like taking my shirt off at the beach, I've been scared to do because of my hips. Things like going to the nude beach, I've been scared to do because I'm like, oh, what if a trans person who knows me is there and they're like, oh my god, you look different to how I thought you looked. And I think a lot of the time I have saved my nude body for sexual purposes and kind of felt like I'm giving it to like people that I don't care that much about, because I don't care about their opinions, and that makes me able to like compartmentalize my body a little bit, if that makes sense. But this year, well, to be honest, since last year, I've been trying really hard to do things to build up my confidence. And it started with wearing clothes that I was really scared to wear. So like a vest outside. And I did it one time. I realized that I survived and everything was fine. And it was actually comfortable and a lot more practical. So I started doing it more and more. And that was the beginning of that. And then I have more stuff on my list. Another thing I did was I stopped commenting or insulting myself. Whenever I found myself making mean comments about my body, I would correct myself or like make a mental note that I'm not doing that anymore. And that takes a really long time to stop doing because we're kind of brought up to do that. I think, especially in the UK, it's seen as like humble or I don't know what the other word is, like polite to be mean to ourselves. And I'm just so over it. Like, why are we doing that? What purpose does that serve? And why is it so bad to like ourselves? Like, what the heck? So whenever I'm mean to myself, which I haven't been in a while, I shut it down. Sometimes I'll say something nice about myself instead, and then eventually those thoughts kind of like dwindled and I didn't think about them as much. And then another thing that really has helped with my confidence is cutting out dieting completely, which is so difficult in a world that glorifies dieting. And I'm so glad that the queer community is kind of like, I feel like we're a little bit more ahead in terms of self-acceptance and anti-diet culture and just body positivity in general. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm in my own bubble here, but from my experience and my communities, I've noticed that there's been a lot less diet culture. Maybe it's different in like the cis gay community, but for the trans community, I think for the people that I surround myself with specifically, it's very anti-diet culture. And I stopped dieting probably about 4 years ago. I'm 29 now. I've been on diet since since I was around 5. Isn't that wild? Like, I have been restricting my diet since I was 5 years old because I was a chubby kid and that's what I was told I needed to do to be accepted. And so obviously that takes a long time to unlearn when the first time you hear that you don't need to diet is when you are 24. That's like 19 years of insistent dying culture. So I was unlearning it with a counselor, and I remember her saying like, you need to throw away your scales at home. And I was like, what? I've never lived in a house without weighing scales. This is something that I do like daily. And she was like, throw them away. And I was like, oh my goodness, Judas. So I stopped dieting, and it took a few years to like feel comfortable with food again, because I was like, how are you supposed to eat or do anything when you're not sticking to something rigid and having all these rules? And now I eat what I want when I want, and I don't restrict or overindulge because I've kind of gotten rid of the cycle of like restriction and binging, then restricting, then binging. You kind of just have to like let yourself go wild a little bit, and then it levels itself out. Anyway, that was how it worked for me. So no dieting at all. And if I start thinking about incorporating dieting things into my life again, I'm like, cut it out. Like, life's short, do what you want. Like, oh, I just hate diet culture so much. So that's one thing that I've done to help my confidence. Another thing is just thanking people when they compliment you. I had a friend in school who, this was when I was around 10, and it was kind of like in Mean Girls when the Regina George gives someone a compliment and they say thank you, and she's like, so you agree? You think you're pretty? I had a friend that was like, would compliment people, and then if they said thank you, she would be like, oh, they think, like, they actually think they're pretty. That's kind of like stuck up of them. And that has stuck with me for so long. But now I make sure to thank people when they compliment me, because I compliment people to, like, I'm being honest when I compliment people. So I have to trust that people are doing the same for me. So if I say thank you and they have a problem with it, that's their problem. Like, you deal with that. That's not my problem. So, it's just a small thing to do, but I think it really helps when you just really believe people or just don't fight against people when they are giving you compliments. Because why waste your time doubling, like, double taking, second, what's the phrase? Double, double, what's it called when you, oh, double taking? I don't know. Anyway, just believe it when people compliment you. And then another thing is stop spending time with people that put you down. Like, I've had a couple friends in the past that have just, their sense of humor has been to make fun of me, and I'm such a people pleaser that it takes me a while to like either call them up on it and be like, why are you doing this? Or just walking away from them. And recently I have been doing that. I've been not spending as much time with people that make fun of me or make fun of the way I look or like make me question myself, or they like get kicks out of embarrassing me, and I'm just like, that's just mean, that's not nice, so why would I want to spend time with you? And now I feel like I have a really nice group of friends all dotted around the place from different communities, and everyone is so nice. Like, I can talk to people about me having an insecure day and they'll just lift me up, and I'm on my Finch app and sometimes it tells me, like, it asks me to write down the people that make me feel confident, and there are two names that I always put in there, and it's just so nice to realize that I have two such really lovely people in my life that always make me feel confident. And the people are growing too. I'm getting more and more, and I think it's so important to have less friends that make you feel good than lots of friends that don't make you feel good. So that's one thing that I'm really working on. And I think I want to really strengthen the friendships that I'm not super close with, but see the potential there because they're also really lovely people. So that's that. And then the next thing is to do things that scare you. So, like I said before, the first thing was wearing a vest in public because that was something I was so scared about. And it's all things that like stem from little comments. So, I remember a girl in my swimming class was pointing out my like underarm fat, and she was like, "You've got that, and that's bad, and I don't." And it was like, okay, thanks for that. Thanks for making me insecure about something for the next 20 years of my life, bitch. Um, I don't blame her. She probably got it from somewhere. We were like 7. Um, but yeah, just doing little things at a time that really scare you. So I started with the vest, or I started with shorts, then the vest, then going shirtless at the beach, and then taking shirtless pictures of myself and putting pictures of myself online that were arty, that weren't perfected. Like, I wasn't manipulating my body to look a specific way. Surgery also helped with that, I'm not gonna lie. Like, dysphoria played into it, and having surgery really helped alleviate that dysphoria. But I still did some really hard things to get over my insecurities. And so one thing that I decided to do to help, or to do something that I was really scared of, was sign up to Life Drawing. And I messaged, I've done drawing at this group before. I know a trans guy who modeled for them. It's a men's life drawing class, and so I knew that they were trans friendly. I knew like the environment a bit. I knew the guy who ran it, and I knew that everyone was really friendly. I knew kind of what to expect, and I messaged him and I was like, hey, I am happy to do some life modeling if you're looking for more trans people, more plus size people, so just I'm here if you want to do that. And it was like far enough in the future that I didn't have to think about it, but like close, like I had said it, so I'd like committed to it. So the time came round, it was the end of October, and it was like tomorrow happening. And I was like, oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? I'm going to be naked in front of a group of men, and it's not like, I'm not going to be sexualized, and it feels so like weird for me to be doing that. And I'm going to have to sit still. I'm not going to be able to distract myself with my phone or a podcast or reading anything. It's going to be a challenge not only for my confidence but for my ADHD and my also chronic pain because I have to sit in the same position for a while. Hi, girly pop. Um, but I got there. I was honestly, I was considering taking a little drink of confidence before going, but then I was like, no, I'll be so proud of myself if I do this totally sober. Olive, please get down. So I got there. I was so nervous. I was like, why have I done this? And then I mentioned to the guy, like, would it be okay if I start off with the dressing gown and slowly undress so it's like easing into it? And he was like, of course, yeah, sure. There were like four or five people that were gonna draw, and I was gonna be sitting on a plinth in front of this row of people, butt naked, and I was like, why have I done this? But the first pose was fine. I was sitting up there, I was kind of covering my modesty. I had like a fluffy robe and I had it off one arm. I had my legs crossed so you couldn't really see anything. And it was like doable. And then the next pose was like turning around a bit, still with the dressing gown, and then I slowly like took more and more off. And I, at one point, the worst part, honestly, was keeping my mind occupied while I was sitting there. At one point, I had like a 25-minute pose where I just had to sit still. And what I did was I went through the alphabet, naming as many different countries as possible, as many different like names as possible, as many different fruit as possible. So I was sitting there like in this art pose while everyone was drawing me, and I was like, apples, bananas, clementines, dragon fruit, going through A to Z of these names, and I was like, please God, like this is so difficult. And it wasn't because I was naked, it was because I wanted something to do or something to think about. And it was just so funny to me that this scary thing I'd built up in my head for so long, it wasn't scary because I was nude anymore. It was scary because I was like not bored, but I was just fidgety and like had ADHD. So yeah, I was really struggling with some of the letters though, like a fruit for Q. I think I had quince, or like a typical boy's name beginning with like X or Xander. Now they're all coming to me, but it was funny to do that. I was laughing in my head, and it was nice to see the pictures that people drew of me and how I'm perceived by other people. And then I found out recently that all of those drawings are in a pub in Brighton on the Wall. And if people know me and my circle tattoo, they're gonna know it's me. And so I've gone from being a totally insecure person who is scared of nudity to having my full naked body drawn and put on show in a pub in Brighton. What? What is my life? So I think that makes me qualified to talk about building confidence and doing things that scare you in order to feel better about yourself. I think it was something that has really made me feel like my body is mine and I can choose when to show as much as I want and when I don't want to show as much as that. And it's now I feel like I can do it more. Like while I was there, I was like, oh, I would do this again. Maybe I should get in contact with some other life drawing classes. And maybe this can be like another part of my work, just doing new life drawing, or I can take pictures and be an art reference for people. And I think I still do have that fear where people are gonna have this perception of me and how they think my body looks or how they might want it to look, and then when they see it they're also like, oh, that's not how I thought you would look. But like, who cares? Like, this is just a body. All bodies look so different. Why is it bad if my body looks different to what another person's body looks like? What makes a bad body? We literally, like, I just don't get it. So I'm so proud of myself for doing that, and that was one of my New Year's resolutions, and I've done it. So now I'm gonna become a new life model, and maybe I'll set up an OnlyFans. Kind of kidding, but also let me know if you'd not watch, let me know if you'd sign up to an OnlyFans if it was just art reference pictures of me nude. Because maybe I'll do that. That sounds like a good time. But yeah. Oh, another thing is taking selfies. Because I used to hate selfies. If you scroll back on my like personal Instagram, you can see that all of my selfies were like half my face or didn't include my body, and then I posted a full body picture at one point, and then I was like, I just need to stop hiding myself, thinking that people are gonna not like me because my body looks a certain way. And if people don't like me because my body looks a certain way, then why would I want to be friends with them? Why would I want them in my life? So I just started sharing more pictures of my full face and my full body, and life continued and nothing terrible happened. So there was that. And then the last thing, which I think is so important, is to fight against the idea of doing things when your body looks a certain way. So sometimes we can be like, oh, I'll go swimming at the beach when my body looks like this, or I will start being more outgoing when my body looks like this, or I'll wear this when I get down to this size, or I'll start looking for a date when I don't look like this. And I think that creates a mentality that your body is always in this temporary state where you're waiting for it to change in order to actually do things that you enjoy. But what if you're always the way that you are? What if your body never changes and you've put off things for this potential body that might not ever come, and you've not lived your life and you've missed out on so many opportunities just because your hips weren't as small as you wanted them to be, or because your belly hangs in a certain way, or because your arms are a bit bigger than you wanted them to be. Like, every time I have gone swimming, I have remembered the friends I was with, the feeling of the sea, the bravery that it took to get in cold water, the fun that I had laughing with my friends, or like the pride I had in how many laps I swam. I never remember the way I looked, or I never consider thinking that I should have waited because I didn't like my body. Like, I am so glad looking back now that I have done things when my body wasn't in this like perfected state in my mind, because I wouldn't have done anything. Like, I wouldn't have done so many things by now just because of what I thought my body could look like. And I think we waste so many opportunities and so much time by thinking of something so superficial when we can just do the thing. So wear the clothes that you want, go to the beach, wear the swimming costume you want, get naked, do the things that you want to do, and just think that your body is going to stay the way it is forever, because it might. And that's not a bad thing. Like, can we stop thinking about our bodies as projects to change and to work on, and start just accepting them as they are, and just like, we were not born to sculpt our bodies. Like, we were born and we're here, and life's gonna be pretty boring if we wait until we look perfect to do certain things. So in my opinion, I say get naked now and have fun and be gay. Vote for me. But seriously, like, yeah, I know sometimes it's hard to like feel confident enough to do things when you don't feel secure, but it's so worth it when you just bite the bullet and do it anyway, because 9 times out of 10 you remember the fun that you had, or the memories, or the bravery, and you don't think about the like the way your body looked. And if you do, that's fine too, but do it anyway. Like, what's the worst that's gonna happen if you go swimming and you look at a picture and you're like, oh, I didn't like how my body looked? It's just a thought. It's fine. It'll pass. And maybe you'll feel better about it in the future. Maybe you won't, but you could still do the thing. So, yeah. That was my very long rant about how I built confidence. And I'm not saying that I'm like the most confident person ever, but my confidence has massively grown. When I was 11, 12, I couldn't walk down the street by myself because I was so insecure about what people thought of me. And now I'm doing all these things. So it's hard work and you have to do things that scare you, but it's possible. So don't fret, Pat, and just keep going. Sorry to sound like a TED talk, but hopefully this helps. Let me show you my chicken. She's not very happy. I'm sorry. I should not have done that. I'm sorry, Ori. I woke up from a nap. But she looks so pretty. Okay, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna see you next month. I've got some exciting things coming up for the new year, so keep an eye out for that. I'm going to be releasing some fun things I'll tell you about later, but I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're having a great day and a great week and a great month and a great everything, and I will chat to you soon. Okay, bye!